Welcome to the latest edition of The Blend. My name is Steve Benz. Every year, I love to have some of my favorite artists back on my show. My latest guest is someone you will all know and love. I love having him on the show a couple times per year and have for years. I'd like to call him the Hall of Famer. Let's welcome John Oates to the show.
Hey, Steve. It's great to talk to you again, man. We're trying to put 2020 in the rearview mirror, and maybe this is a good omen, man. We can kick off the new year some positive vibes.
Hey, your Christmas song plus your live from Nashville is a way to spend 2020, if you ask me.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, it's a good way to close it out. How about that?
Yeah, it is. It is, because I heard the Christmas song, put it up there right away on the show. Little Mel Torme, little Nat King Cole, and there you are. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's got kind of a rhythm and blues taste to it.
Well, I'm always injecting a little bit of the blues into something or another. You know, it's kind of I try to make it a little bit of my own. That song has been recorded so many times.
Sure.
It's such an amazing, beautifully complicated, simple song. You know, I say that in a strange way, but it's complicated. The chords are complicated, but it's beautifully simple. I actually, the reason I did it was because I wanted to send a musical Christmas card to some friends. Mm-hmm. I just, I'm not going to do, I'm kind of over the paper Christmas card concept.
Sure.
And I thought, hey, I'll make a little home demo on my laptop on GarageBand and play all the instruments and send it out to my friends as a little Christmas card. And I sent it to one of my best friends, a guy who's the president of Warner Nashville, mm-hmm. John Esposito, who's an amazing music ear and also loves Christmas. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. he came back to me and he said, dude, that's my favorite version next to Frank Sinatra. I went, really? I said, okay, well, that's high praise coming from you. He goes, you ought to put it out. And so I said, you know what? Let's take it to another level. And I decided to put it out.
So hold on. You said that you played all the instruments?
Well, yeah. I mean, I did it on my laptop. I played 3 or 4 guitar parts. I did an upright bass on a key. I sampled it and did it on a keyboard, and I programmed the drums, and that's all that's on the song. There's nothing. I mean, it's just as simple as it gets. It's bass, guitar, and drums.
To me, that sounds pretty complicated. It's got to be complicated. Seriously.
Your basic rhythm section, man, with a little tinkly bell-like piano in the background.
That I heard. I did hear that, and I thought to myself, he's got to have someone else in the studio, considering how everything is being done now. I figured you had a whole group of musicians.
Well, under normal circumstances, I'd love to be in the studio in Nashville with these incredible world-class musicians. Yep. But, we're in COVID, and I'm sitting at home and left to my own devices and now doing it myself.
Left to your own devices. I imagine you sitting there making sourdough bread of some sort. Maybe that's what you're doing.
I got some sourdough bread. I didn't make it, but I got some.
So with this process of recording this song, so let's take it back to the studios on how you would do it with Daryl and yourself. So what was different or what was still the same recording this song?
Well, if I were to do this song in the studio, I would, get a rhythm section, a drummer,
sure.
a bass player,
sure.
probably a keyboard player, and, probably myself on guitar. And we'd work out the arrangement, and usually in the control room, kind of work it out in a rough way. The guys would take notes or,
mm-hmm.
Write their own chord charts or whatever it is they, needed to get through the song. And then we'd go out and play it. And we'd play it a few times until it felt really good. And that would be it. I mean, that's kind of the basic way of cutting a live track in that very Nashville style. But, when I'm at home, I've got my laptop with, a couple, a little keyboard, and I've got my guitars, and, I just kind of program things. And, that's basically the way most pop music is made these days anyway. But I did it in a little bit more organic kind of mm-hmm. hybrid between the computer and actually playing the instruments.
So how hard were you on the drummer and the bassist during the recordings?
I'm really hard on the drummer. I'm always hard on drummers. It's one of my problems in life. But no, seriously, I just programmed a very, very simple drum beat, and it's as simple can be. I found a sample of a jazz drum kit, very soft, kind of brushy kind of thing, and I just came up with a groove and put it down and then played the bass over top of it, picked an upright bass, mm-hmm. trying to keep it as traditional as possible.
So how many takes did it take to get this all done?
It took a few hours, maybe 2 hours, something like that.
Oh, that's nothing. I was expecting, you being the perfectionist, that this would have taken 2 weeks to get this done.
No way, man. I'm pretty fast, and and also you have to remember, I've got the computer to help me.
Right. If only a computer could help me some days.
That's right.
All right, so let's look at this song and everything else that you've done. So here is probably a very difficult question. Give me the core things of a hit song. Like, what would it be?
You mean, are you asking for the secret to a hit?
Well, no one needs to know. It's just you and me.
Well, that's a question I can't answer. I can give you my crackpot theory if that's what.
Okay, that'll work. That'll work. There's got to be it's certain chords that say, "Hey, this is a happy song. This will not be a happy song."
Well, years ago, I remember a kind of an old rock and roll songwriter from the old Philadelphia Cameo Parkway days, a guy who worked with Chubby Checker and the Dovells and people like that. He said, just put the word magic in a song and it'll be a hit. So maybe, I don't know if he was right or not, but there have been tons of songs with the word magic in it. But I don't know. You know what it is? It's creating this connection between what people are thinking about and feeling, and somehow articulating it for them. That's what songwriters do. They pull something out of the air, and somehow, if they're lucky and if the time is right and everything falls into place, it connects with how people are thinking and feeling, and somehow they relate to it and make it their own.
That still sounds kind of hard to me. Very, very hard. And that's why I'm not a musician. Although,
Steve, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Isn't that the truth? Now, I'm trying to teach myself how to play guitar right now, okay? So I just can't get that pinky to move, and I've got one dislocated finger that I just can't get to move right either. So it's... You
didn't buy that guitar course by that guy at late night TV with the black hat.
I thought about it, but I didn't. Where you attach it to the frets and stuff, so then you know what chords are. It's like,
well, it takes a little time, but stick with it, man. It's worth it.
I will. I just can't. It's just like that damn pinky. I'm like, would you just move just once?
Certain fingers just don't want to go in the right, move in the right direction.
They don't. There's a reason why I'm on the radio and not singing songs like you. Not like I could sing, but anything like that.
That's funny, man.
So it is. But I'm trying. It's what else do we do with our time? Although I've been busier than ever.
Got to do what we do, right?
And I would think, talking about pop songs, I saw you post about songs at 1 billion streams. I can't even think that high.
It's crazy. When I got that information, it came from Sony, who now is our kind of record label, so to speak. When they announced that "You Make My Dreams Come True" had reached 1 billion streams, we did some math, and it was something crazy. Like, it could play consecutively for something like 3,000 years or something really off the wall. It was so absurd that I couldn't even process it. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
And then if you think needle drops, there I'm aging myself. The needle drops that we had to keep track of over the years are in the millions. I can't think of the numbers, man.
Well, now that streaming has happened, the concept of numbers and the concept of how songs are heard and played and downloaded. It used to be we used to look at, the United States, or, you'd look a little bit at England or maybe a little bit in Europe as kind of the bellwether of kind of how your song was being, bought or perceived or how popular it was. But now it's the entire universe. I mean, it's the entire world. I mean, for all I know, it could be freaking outer space. It's just the whole world. I mean, I get all these reports from Russia, how we're really popular in Russia. I had no idea, to be honest with you.
Yep. Russia, Germany, they are having an 80s invasion right now. So all your videos are playing, John. So.
Oh, yeah. I believe me. The 80s is firmly entrenched in the next generation's musical DNA.
And even mullets are back. I'd like to point that out.
That's good.
So your heavy mustache that you have that you don't wear now, but that could be back too. Right there. We're all going back
But
25
somebody
years.
else will have to rock that for me, in my honor. I'm going to stick with my well-trimmed facial hair.
It looks good. It looks good without it, but it's just so 80s. We just kind of look at it and we go, boy, maybe those were better times. I'm not really sure. I think every decade has its own music, its own form for its own generation. And it's just great that here you are years later and people are still playing it and singing along.
Steve, if someone would have told me back in the early 70s when Daryl and I started just project, hey, think about this, man. In 2020, you're going to be more popular than, you've ever been in your life, I would say. Come on, you've got to be kidding me. I would never in a million years have believed it. It's a blessing and something I'm very internally gratified. I have so much gratitude for the fact that our music has stood the test of time, and I'm humbled by it, and really not, I don't ever take it for granted.
Sure.
So it's just an amazing thing.
So if we go back in time, to, what was it, your first single, I Love You, I Need You, one of those, right?
Oh, I Need Your Love by the Masters back in 1967.
There you go. Now, what was the goal? Like, what was the big goal was it 66?
The goal was to make a record. But we pooled our money together from some gigs we did. I had, it was my band, my local band in Pennsylvania, kids I grew up with. And we pooled our money together. We went down to Philadelphia. We found a studio in the Yellow Pages, called the guy up, say, hey, can we make a record? And the guy said, yeah, you got the money? And we said, I think so. And we went down and made a record. So, I mean, it was, it was childlike, simple as simple it could be.
Do the Masters still exist somewhere?
Oh, no. I mean, well, I've got a master of the master record, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't know where the guys are. I've lost track of them over the years. Every once in a while, there was a guy named Pat Collins who played bass, and I actually co-wrote that song with him. He moved to Arizona. He showed up at a show a few years back. The rest of the guys I have actually lost track of.
That would have been wild. Maybe you need to, with all this streaming going on, you just grab the axe and just start playing along. So.
Hey, that's what I do every day. Pick up the axe and start playing along.
What about you and Daryl? What was the goal then? So now you've got a song that was out. So now you and Daryl get together. Like, what was the goal then? If you're thinking it's early 70s now?
Well, we didn't, Daryl had a song out at the exact same time I had my first song out in 1967.
Right.
He had a group called the Temptones, and he had a vocal, like an a cappella group, and they sounded like the Temptations. Oh. And I heard him on the radio, he heard me on the radio, and then we met. The Philadelphia music scene was very small in those days. And we met, but we didn't really work together. I joined his band. My band kind of broke up. I joined his group as a backup guitar player, and then that group subsequently broke up. And he and I just hung out. We hung out. We shared apartments for a while. We lived in the same neighborhoods in Philadelphia. He was doing studio work and working with another group. I was playing in a blues band and doing folk music. And then in 1970, late 1970, we finally, I think both of us were just disillusioned with what we were doing individually. And we got together and we just started writing songs. And little by little, eventually got a record contract and we just kind of kept plugging away.
I still remember the day my sister played Sarah Smile. So I was pretty young at the time, and she brought home that 45.
Cool.
And on one of those cabinet stereos, I think my parents had, and they dropped that. I was like, what is this? And then, of course, the rest of your albums came out, or at least she was buying all of them because she's, got 10 years on me and all. But she still sings along, and she's like, I hate you that you know John. Like, sorry, I put in 30 years for this. So
tell her I said hello. If that makes her feel any better.
I will. I'm sure she's listening now, going, "Why can't you have him over?" That kind of stuff. So, well, just what a career, and it's still going. And I'm just so proud that we still kind of hang out. So.
Well, you've been a great supporter of me and especially my solo work over the years.
Oh yeah. So what about with all this streaming? You're seeing a lot of bands go up live on their Instagram or whatever. Any thoughts of doing that, or are you already doing that?
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I have a very active Instagram page. You can check it out. It's John Oates Official. I've got all kinds of stuff on there. Songs I'm doing. In fact, just right before this phone call, I was just working on a song that a guy named Jack Severetti sent me from London. He has
That's
a
awesome.
song that he just wrote, and he asked me if I'd sing background and play guitar on it, and I was just actually working on that. I'm also put together a fundraiser for a great organization called Feeding America, and it's going to come out this spring. It's going to be a streaming songwriters festival, and I've invited all kinds of amazing people. Unfortunately, I can't give away all the names yet, but really great artists are jumping on board, and all the proceeds will go to Feeding America, and that will come out in the spring, and organizing that right now. And I mean, there's so much going on. I'm busier now than I was when I was on tour. Did 4 songs for a movie called Gringa, which is a great little movie that is also coming out this spring. It's about a young girl in Southern California who goes to Mexico to find her estranged father. And did a duet with a gal named Jimena Sariana from Mexico City, and we sang in Spanish. So, man, there's so much going on. I can't keep track of it.
Wow. I admit I'm not as active on IG as I should. People keep telling me that, but there's so many places to post. But
yeah, well, there's all kinds of stuff. If you want to go on my IG, like I said, I've got a YouTube channel. I've got Facebook.
Yep.
We just did 3 songs for the homeless shelter here in Nashville. 3 songs live with a couple of my good friends here in Nashville in a beautiful old church downtown. So we did that recently. All that stuff's up online.
Yeah.
So if people really
everybody's got to get out there. I love anything to feed people. That's what I do every year. My years in Los Angeles, I learned to go to the soup kitchens and everything else, and I have done that forever. Take my kids, the whole works, year in and year out, either here or here in Chicago. So that's a good thing. I mean, you have to. You got to help people. Isn't that what if nothing else, if you've learned nothing else this year, where's the humanity to help someone next to you?
Absolutely, it's so important, and I think it's humbled everyone, and hopefully people going forward, even when we do come out of the pandemic, which I know we will eventually. Yep. I hope some of the lessons that we've learned, during this period of time can stick with us all, and we can be a little more compassionate, and try to help other people.
Hey, I'm just glad that you stayed out of the politics. That's the one thing I am not big on is when celebrities jump into politics and then people just go bananas left and right for whatever it is that you say. So I just kind of like the neutrality of it all.
I appreciate you saying that, but what my politics are is think for yourself.
Yep.
Educate yourself on the issues. Learn, make yourself knowledgeable, and then make your own intelligent decisions.
Sure.
That's my idea of politics.
Right, and let's remind everybody that your ballot is supposed to be secret. You don't need to go on live to tell everybody who you're voting for because that's not relevant. It doesn't matter who's going to be president next, right? We still have to get through all this together.
That's right. It's all about keeping it together.
So, what are your big plans for 21? You got big things for?
Well, I'm still being very, very safe. My wife and I are really, really staying home. We're not traveling. We're trying to do the right thing, not only for ourselves, but for the rest of our fellow man, so to speak. And, we'll see what happens. As the world opens up, if the world allows us to, Daryl and I will be back on tour. We have a tour tentatively planned for August of this coming summer. And, hey, if people want to sit in a venue next to each other and hear us play, we'll be out there doing it. So it's a matter of the world, turning on the green light.
I agree with that. Now, with your son and your wonderful wife, do either one of them play instruments?
No, my wife has really become very active with my social media, and she's helping me co-produce this Feeding America streaming festival that we're going to do online, a virtual festival. So she's really become really savvy with all that kind of stuff, and she's been a real help for me organizing a lot of this stuff because it can be overwhelming with all the things that are going on out there. Our son is a scientist. He's a computer type guy, and he's his own man. He's doing his own thing, and he's got a full-time job.
There you go.
Bought himself a new truck, so things are good in his world.
Yeah, my son's the same way. He's a technologist and things like that. He's like, Dad, there's so many things you could do so much better. I'm like, leave me alone. I don't have time to understand what it is you're talking about.
Hey, listen, when I need some tech help, I know who to call.
A quick line to tech support. My son does not give me as much support as I would like. So he's like, Dad, I do charge a per hour rate. My own son.
Right. Yeah, you know what that charge should be? Dude, I brought you up from the time you were a baby. You owe me.
Isn't that the truth? Because my kids are separated. Okay, so one's on one coast, one is on the other. So it'll be a virtual holiday, and I'm okay with all
with us,
that. So
yeah.
it is what it is, and that's okay. But if I could talk to people like you and get people a little bit happier for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I am all for it.
Yeah. Well, we're doing the socially distanced Christmas too,
Yep.
And we, this is the first time we're not together as a family in since our son's been born,
Sure.
25 years. So, and my father, I haven't seen him since February, and he's up in Pennsylvania and basically in quarantine, in an assisted living. And we haven't been able to see him. We see him on FaceTime, of course, but a good friend of mine told me, he said, hey, we were talking about, what it's like, what's going to be like to miss Christmas as a family. And he said, look, man, he goes, if you have to miss one Christmas, but that allows you to have Christmases, going forward
Sure.
in the future, he goes, it's worth it. And you know what? I never thought about it that way, but that's how we're thinking about it.
That's really true. I saw a picture of your father up on social media. So 97. Come on.
He's still rocking, man. He's still good, man. He's bored. He's sitting in his chair watching TV, reading his book, but he's just bored because he can't. Unfortunately where he lives is kind of locked down.
Sure. Now, how was he as you were as a youth? Was he one of those? Wasn't he in the military? Right. So he was one.
Well, he was in the Navy during World War II, and
Okay.
he was like so many fathers in the 50s. He just worked all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I was really young, he held down 2 jobs. And he'd work during the day and then do a night job. Part time during the week. And my mom worked. We're a middle class family.
Right, right.
We never wanted for anything, but we didn't have a lot either. But it was okay. They were great. They supported me in my musical career every way, and my sister and I were always comfortable. But like I said, I learned a lot from them just in terms of being straightforward and being humble and trying to
work ethic. That's what I learned from my father, is work ethic.
Yeah.
He had 2 jobs as well. There were 7 of us in 9 years. My old man just worked, just whatever it took.
That's right.
So, and then he looked at his sons going, I believe you've eaten all the food today. So,
yeah, my wife comes from a family of 7 as well. So
so we get that. So she gets it. She would get where I came from, where you had to portion everything all out. So who are you more like, your father or your mom? Or your mom or your father? Which one?
Well, I think I have a lot of characteristics of my father, a sense of humor, I have a certain way of carrying myself. But I think in a lot of ways I'm like my mother. She was she was really tough. My mom was really tough, and she just she kind of ran the house in a way. And so I think I got a little bit of both of them.
And your son, who is he more like?
Man, I don't know. I think he's his own man. You know who he's like? He's like his grandfather on my wife's side. My grandfather, who lives in Kankakee, Illinois,
nice.
who's a farmer. Very hands-on, can build anything with his hands. Really, I think he takes after my wife's father.
Well, that's good. Before we head you out, get you on your way, let's get back to the Christmas song, okay? Because we're going to play that after this. Great response. People are digging it. So where can they get that? Is it something that they can download?
Yeah, I like to joke it's available where records are not sold. It's on the internet. You can get it on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon. It's out there. It's streaming. There's no physical copies.
Okay.
But it's streaming. As I'm trying to be a modern dude, and like I said, you can stream to your heart's content. Go on my Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and you'll find all kinds of links to it.
All right, John, always a pleasure. Next time we have you on, we're going to do a video stream, all right? Because I already got it up and working on my website.
Hey, man,
and stuff.
yeah, let's get modern. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you have to play. You have to play. Other than, seeing you making sourdough bread.
That too. I can do that too.
I don't doubt that's next. You're going to be some TV star because we're seeing everybody everywhere. So
It's the way to reach the masses.
yeah. Do you have any talent like that, or none whatsoever?
But I am going to host this live streaming virtual songwriters festival, which will be streamed on the internet.
Awesome.
It's going to come out in the spring,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm getting such great artists. I wish I could tell you all the
Yep.
amazing artists who are going to do a song, and it's all for the benefit of Feeding America. So stay tuned for that, and it should be a lot of fun.
Hey, and if anything that I could do to help on that, you just let me know. Okay, behind the scenes,
Time
whatever.
comes, I will get.
I am all over that. Okay.
Love it. Okay.
John, always a pleasure to have you on. Have yourself a great new year, and we will see you next time on The Blend.
All right, Steve. All the best to you, man.